What's going on, guys? Welcome to Brew on Board. My name's Andrew, and today we have a Brew on Board. First, I'm going to be covering a Kickstarter. Mythic Battles Ragnarok just dropped earlier today, so I thought what better time than to do it right now. I'm really excited about this one. I'm really into Viking stuff. I do not have Mythic Battles Pantheon, so I thought this was a perfect time for me to maybe look, see what's going on, maybe jump in, get into the Mythic Battles line. So thought we would just kind of chill. I got my green tea here, hang out, take a look at what they got. Maybe give you my thoughts on what I like, maybe what I don't like. So yeah, let's just get started. So Mythic Battles Ragnarok. Ragnarok is upon you. I briefly looked at this earlier today. Everything looked pretty good. 60 to 90 minutes, 14 plus, 2 to 4 players. All pledges will be available in both English and French, as Monolith games usually are. So this is the Mythic Battles core box without stretch goals. Boo. We want the stretch goals. So here's some of the stretch goals now. So it looks pretty cool. They already have a few unlocked. I mean, at the time of this recording, let's see. It's already $730,000, 3,891 backers. They got 13 days to go, so I'd say they're doing okay. I mean, honestly, I'm probably predicting like 2.5 mil, maybe 3, something like that, probably. So right off the bat, let's just talk about the base game pledge, the Norse God pledge. This is $120. Now, I like this here. It says VAT and U.S. sales tax are included. It says that above each of the pledges, so that's good to know. And this is just for the core box and all the unlocked stretch goals. So that's pretty good. If we actually look as a comparing thing back to Pantheon 1.5 right here, it's actually the same amount for their core box and stretch goals. So, and the content is kind of the same. I mean, minus the stretch goals. We don't know how many stretch goals, but I would imagine it's going to be something similar. So that is the Norse God pledge, just core box and stretch goals. Then you have the Greek God. So they sounded a survey asking who would want to buy, like they were trying to get a number for how many people might be interested in the Pantheon 1.5. So I answered them. I sent that back. So I guess in this campaign, they are adding the availability to get the Pantheon 1.5 as well as the stretch goals. Now, this is the only pledge on the page for this. There is a post, or not a post, like a section where they say you will be able to add other expansions and add-ons for Pantheon 1.5 in the pledge manager. And I think they even maybe said maybe even later on in this campaign. I did see a section where they said basically what you see here isn't everything. They didn't want to overload people just looking at the campaign, especially with new people coming into it. So they kept it, I don't want to say minimal, but they didn't reveal everything. So slowly over the campaign, they're going to reveal more and more. So I thought that was a good idea. All right, Pantheon God pledge. So this is the core box, Pantheon 1.5, and all the stretch goals. You can click for more details to find out everything that is included in here. You can see all the stretch goals as well, 55 stretch goals, 87 minis, and plus 196 cards and 37 dashboards. That's a lot. So you got some Titans and everything. And the Titans, I guess, are these just massive minis. So, like I said, I have not played Pantheon 1.5, any Mythic Battle games. So I am interested in this. It's a skirmish game, and they have a few different modes. You can also do like a campaign type deal. But I like skirmish games, and this one looks, I love Viking stuff. I love it. So right when I see that, it's a big plus for me. And especially because the Mythic Battle Pantheon looked like an interesting game anyway. So what better time than to jump in, possibly, than with Mythic Battles Ragnarok. So, okay, so Mythic Battles Pantheon expansions minus the role-playing game will be available either during the Pledge Manager or by the second week of this campaign. So this is what I was talking about. Then you have the War of the Gods pledge. This is for $240. So basically, this is both the core box for Ragnarok and Mythic Battles Pantheon 1.5, and both the stretch goals for both of those too. And it looks like there's also this little Atlas add-on here. So that's pretty cool. If you don't want to get all the expansions, they have a cool little pledge for just, core boxes for both and the stretch goals for both. I think that's a perfect idea. I really like that. And again, VAT and US sales tax included. Very cool. All right, so next we have the Yggdrasil All-In pledge. So this is the all-in for Ragnarok. So it says all boxes and stretch goals, $300. VAT and US sales tax included. So we can see a breakdown as well, which I really like. So you can see the core box. It even puts the numbers, and it puts the numbers next to the boxes as well that you can see in the picture. So you kind of know what the price for each one of them. It does list the add-ons later on in the campaign, but I thought it was a cool idea how they laid this out. It's easy. You see a picture, you see the prices for them, you know the list breakdown. I think that's a perfect idea. So we have the core box. I think I'm scrolling around a little bit too much here. Asgard add-on, Ragnar Saga, Jormungandr add-on, Surtur, and Nidhogg. I guess I'm saying that correct. I have no idea. But also what's included is an extra dice set and card sleeves. So it says you will receive for free, if you purchase the all-in, enough sleeves for all Ragnarok cards for the Yggdrasil all-in, stretch goals included. So, and then an art book. So I kind of did the cost breakdown. So if we take 300 minus 119, we're left with 180. Minus the Asgard, we got 120 left. Minus the Ragnar Saga, 100. Jormungandr, minus 20. We're at 80 after the Jormungandr. Cert, we're at 60. Nidhogg, 40. Dice set, we're at 30. And the art book is 0. So to me, it looks like if you get the all-in pledge, you're kind of saving on like all the sleeves. They're kind of throwing in all the sleeves for you for free. So, I mean, you got a little bit of savings that way if you go all in. So then it says, here we go, you'll receive free sleeves for all your English and French all in. So the more stretch goals there are unlocked, the bigger your savings. So see, there you go. 250 plus sleeves. It's quite a bit. It is quite a bit. All right, so then also it says in-depth updates of each of the add-ons are scheduled throughout the campaign. We'll provide more information than just the sneak peek below. So again, this is kind of under the theme of they're letting you know what they have up front, and then they're going to slowly reveal more and more as the campaign goes on, as to not overload everybody. So here you have the core box, all the components, 4 gods. Thor, Loki, Freya, and Hel. These all look really good. I am digging Thor. The Loki kind of reminds me of like, and I don't want to say it, but the Marvel kind of Loki looking guy. I mean, maybe not really. I mean, the outfit does look a little bit different, but he's got that like that cape, the still slick long hair. It just kind of gives me vibes of that. But it looks really cool. 5 heroes. So I think there's 4 different types of units in here. There's like Titans, gods, monsters, or gods and heroes, monsters, and I think just regular. I think I just said 5, but there's some breakdown. We'll get into that in a second. Monsters, here we go. Fafnir, Fenrir. These all look really good. You gotta admit, these look sick. Troops, 24 minis, at least in the core box. This isn't stretch goals yet. Oathbreakers. So these are, I was kind of like, what are zombies doing in there? But the way that I see it, I think the Oathbreakers, if you prove yourself and you go to Valhalla, this kind of reminds me like maybe they broke that oath, and so they're actually the dead rising like from their bodies. I don't know. Or they're just coming from hell. You know, they were down in hell and they're kind of, that's the part of the army of hell. I don't know. But overall, it looks really good. This guy looks awesome here. I like this guy and this guy right here, the Berserker. Man, that guy is cool. I mean, the bear head on top of that guy, he's just like charging at you. And he's got 2 axes. Dude, he is ready. Other components. Okay, and this is what I like too. 2 double-sided boards. So, I mean, most games just come with 1 board. And then just to have a 1 double-sided board in games is really nice. Conan has double-sided boards, same company. So I really like how they added more boards. Just adding boards alone makes the replayability really high. And I like the different aspects of each. I mean, you kind of got like the kind of port, you know, the water port with the boats. You got the ship crashing here, like from into the snowy ice bank. You got the world tree, I think they were saying right there, Mimir's Well. And then the other one, I read a description, I'm forgetting offhand, but it sounded really cool. Dashboards. So I was looking into this briefly. So these kind of lock on to these characters right here. And these stats, you know, if you take hits or wounds, I think they're called, this tracker goes up and down based on the wounds, and it can affect the person you're playing as. You can do like maybe less powers or less damage, something like that. I think that's a neat idea. And then we have runes and various tokens, as well as the special dice. Now these look awesome. Dude, it looks like some sort of frost dice. And I think it's perfect with this theme. They really did a good job with this. I love the look of these dice. And then you have some 3D elements. 18. So you have 10 trees, and then 8 of these little, look like rune, statue things. So it looks pretty cool. Scenario booklet contains 6 scenarios. I imagine that might go up with more stretch goals, or when the campaign finally releases, or you finally get the game. Rulebook, player aid, 2 player aids, and you can download the rulebook as well and take a look at it, see if it's for you. Now, I did watch a video on King of Average's channel, and they sent him a prototype copy. And he even mentioned in there that the rulebook looked pretty far along, because they're kind of taking, already the base on Pantheon 1.5, and they're just kind of adding, maybe tweaking some things here or there. And so far, I mean, he kind of did a brief little glimpse of the rulebook. It looked pretty good to me. He's been playing it a bunch, and so far he likes it. So it looks pretty well. It looks pretty good. The minis, they looked fantastic from what he had. Now those probably aren't mass production minis, but I mean, they look good nonetheless. So here, units, different types of units make up your army. So, and what you're trying to do is, I think you get a certain amount of points. So you might say for a scenario, you have 14 points, right? So you want to choose, like maybe you want to choose tier, right? And he might cost like 4 points. So you got to build an army with the amount of points that you're allocated, and then the other person would do the same thing. So you could potentially make this big army of low cost, units, or not a lot of units, but each of those units is super powerful. So I like that idea, being able to customize your own army. I like that. I really like that. And then it goes over the different kinds of modes that you can play. 1v1, free for all, or team battles, 2v2. Who doesn't love some 2v2? Then here's the unit section that I was talking about earlier that I completely butchered. Different types of units make up your army. They fall into 4 different categories: gods, heroes, monsters, and troops. Each type has its own advantages, and you may build your army with any combination you like. The only restriction is the overall cost. All right. So it looks like they each, do different things. They all have talents that give them small advantages and sharpen their goals. And strategies, but most importantly, heavy-duty powers. So gods, heroes, and monsters in particular can turn the tide of battle. So obviously a little bit stronger than the other ones. And they are both used in both game modes of Mythic Battles. So it just goes over skirmish mode, adventure mode, which is cool. Breaks down some of the things about the units. Like you can see god, hero, monster, and troops, your regular troops. So then it looked like the win conditions of the game, and excuse me if I'm incorrect, but you have your army is based around a divinity. So basically there's two ways that you can win. You either destroy that divine being, whoever that is, on the opponent's side, or you use your divine being and then you go absorb 4. Only that divine being can absorb these things around the board, and you have to absorb 4 of those. Whichever comes first, whoever does either of those first wins. So, and honestly, it sounds like it's pretty straightforward, right? You're just going after either that divine being, or you're using yours to go around the board and absorb those 4 things. And then Jarls. So this is what they said, a new, see, here we go. Jarls are an addition from Mythic Battles Ragnarok that expands the possibilities of customization and strategy of your army with the addition of attachments. So these Jarls aren't actually on the board. What happens is you would choose one of these Jarls, but it still costs one of your points, or however many points the Jarl is going to cost when you're building your army. And that would, from what I understand, go behind one of your troops, hero, warrior, whatever, monster, and it would give a benefit to that, basically upgrading that unit. So I thought that was a cool idea. Your deck, it goes over the deck cards. Rune cards, so this is one of those things that if you absorb one of those, I guess it's going to be a rune. If you absorb one of those, you get to choose or take a card off of this rune deck, which is supposed to be a pretty powerful card. And then you have these Art of War cards. Here it goes over, and you're going to have activation cards for each of your troops. And some troops are going to have more activation cards. You're going to shuffle all the activation cards together out of all the cards of your whole army. And then you're going to draw some off the top. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but it's something like that. See, each unit you recruit has 3 to 5 activation cards that are included in your deck, which represent the number of times you can activate those units before your deck runs out. So you're only going to have a certain amount of activations for certain units. Okay, Art of War cards, a Swiss Army knife card with multiple uses, such as drawing 2 extra cards, searching your deck for a specific activation card. That's pretty cool. Activating a second unit during your turn, or using the unit's most heavy-duty powers. So that sounds pretty cool to me. And then so here we go. This is the rune cards I was talking about. Rune cards or Umphalos that were in Pantheon. When your deity absorbs a divine stone, you gain a card corresponding to the absorbed stone, which can be useful for a particular effect depending on whether your divinity absorbed a rune or an Umphalos. Or you can use that card in place of an Art of War card. So I thought that was pretty cool. Here we go over the character dashboards, and this is that thing I was talking about earlier that goes over top of the stats, and it kind of indicates where that unit is at that moment in time. If they took some wounds, it might go down, kind of limiting the character a little bit. Here we have, the recruitment costs. So this looks like Sigurd costs 3. So if you're building and you only have 14 points, Sigurd's going to cost you 3 points, so on and so forth. And then dice combat. So I was reading a little bit about the dice combat. So let's pretend an enemy has 5 health, or let's say they have 6 health. The dice go up to, I think it's 5. I think there's a blank. Oh yeah, we can see it right here on the screen. What am I talking about? So these are all the faces. So it only goes up to 5. So you actually have to hit. You can't add the dice together, right? So if you roll like a 2 and a 5, and the opponent's shield that you need a surpass, equal or surpass to do a wound to them, you can't add the 5 and the 2 to make 7. The 5s, if you roll a 5, it allows you to re-roll that die. So if you get a 5 and then you re-roll a 2, now you have 7. However, one thing that they did to reduce the, to mitigate that kind of stuff, is you can actually, I don't want to say sell, but you can discard one of these dies that rolled an actual face to add one, like a +1, to a different die. So if you were to discard this 1, and it can't be a blank face, if you were to discard this 1, you could make this 5 into a 6. So that is how you can kind of add the dice together, in a sense, to hit or surpass that opponent's, I don't know if it's a shield or kind of, something like that. So it says each 5 may be re-rolled and added to the previous rolled 5. This allows you to hit enemies with a defense greater than 5, like most heroes, monsters, and gods. And then here, this is what I was just talking about. On top of the rerolls, you can discard any rolled die except for blanks to add +1 to the numeric result of any other die. If thanks to this, okay, so I didn't mention this. If thanks to this you obtain a 5, it can be re-rolled, allowing you to get even more, a higher number. So that's pretty much the attack. I like that. I think that's a cool idea. It does seem like it's not going to be the hardest thing to hit those, hit some of those numbers depending on what they are. I mean, if we're talking about like an average of 6, I mean, you got to hit like a pretty, I mean, I don't know. Some people have bad rolls, but it doesn't seem too hard. Yet there is still, it seems like obviously a chance with the blank faces and just rolling low numbers that you still might not be able to hit it. But I think there's a decent shot. And you don't, with a decent amount of guys, you want to at least constantly be putting a wound or 2 on them at a time, or else, yeah, the game seems like it could drag on forever. Because even if you're building a super strong guy, they're going to have multiple wounds that they're going to be able to take before they die. So you at least want to be able to, kind of consistently put hits on them. So I thought that was a good idea. This is the minis. They're just talking about, Monolith's kind of commitment to, minis. The miniatures we have produced for Pantheon in the past are a testament to the care we take with our plastic production castings, and we have only improved since then. I will admit, I like the Conan minis. I think they're pretty good. I've not had any complaints with them. I think they're pretty detailed, and the minis so far in here, they look pretty sick. The game boards, it's just talking about the game boards. 2 double-sided game boards, and it goes over basically a little description about each one. I thought that was a really cool idea. Here we go. The plane of the final battle is the most perilous board ever created. So that's pretty cool. And then here we go over some of the add-ons. Asgard add-on just goes over what's inside. 2 gods, Heimdall, Odin. So, I mean, you got to get this one right. So we have some heroes, monsters, troops, other components. So another double-sided board. Hey, absolutely. Ragnar Saga. So this looks like it's about Ragnar Lothbrok and his sons a little bit. I see Bjorn and Ivar. Tells you what's included. Jormungand. So this is the World Serpent. Titan-sized model. So this is an even bigger model than the gods. So that is huge. Surtur, that another Titan-sized model. This This all looks really good. I mean, look at that guy. I mean, actually, let's go back to the snake. This thing looks incredible. Look at all that. How could I glance over that? That looks amazing. That looks really good. And this guy looks fantastic as well. This dragon looks really cool. Another Titan-sized monster. That looks amazing. So in each of these dashboard activation cards, scenario booklet, see, contains two scenarios. We have an additional dice set. And I like how they're putting 10 dice in there. I know like in Conan, you could always use more dice. So I like to see more dice in the game. Probably be getting a dice set if I'm honest. Card sleeves, there we go, and the art book. And then they're just going over different kind of, scenarios, different things, what's what. You have some videos, King of Average's channel. I suggest you go check out his videos about this. He does an unboxing. He kind of gets out everything that might be in the core box. And then as well as he does a little review about so far his experience for the game. So I suggest you check it out. Board Game Coffee, same thing, and we have some other channels as well. All right, so shipping, it's kind of what I was expecting. I mean, these are going to be some pretty big boxes. I mean, especially when they add all the stretch goals. There's just going to be a lot of plastic, adds a lot of weight. This is kind of what I was expecting. I live in the States, so yeah. So going over all these, like I said, it was in line with what I was expecting. It goes over a little bit of who Monolith is. It's our 11th crowdfunding project, it says. Goes over the credits, and then the here it says 11th crowdfunding project and delivery date. So it says the estimated delivery date for this project is June 2022, with a high chance it may be earlier. Now, as I keep going back to King of Average's video, he's one of the only channels that has that is covering Ragnarok. So it looked like, to him at least, that a lot of the components, they kind of had a solid foundation, right? The rule book looked pretty good already. The minis look pretty good. The board art looked pretty good. I don't think they were the final boards. But basically, he said, I think, I don't want to quote him, but it seemed like the project, it seemed like a further along project, if that makes any sense. So with a high chance it may be earlier. They're probably already going to have, some of the files. They're just going to send them to mass production. So I'm kind of optimistic about that date. With a high chance it may be earlier, I'm not clinging on to that. We'll wait and see. At least for right now, I'm just going to say I'm expecting June 2022. And if there's any delays, I would not be surprised. So just going over the stretch goals, the stretch goals look pretty good too. So if we go back up here, where are we at? Getting there. There's a lot here. So here we go, the stretch goals already. So the first stretch goal was tier. We have Garm. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Norns, Mimir, Ratatosk. So they're already unlocking. Did they already have all these unlocked when we started this video? I'm not sure. Well, if we scroll up, what's it up to now? 738,000, 3,942 backers. So the stretch goals are getting there. So overall, I mean, I expect the stretch goals to get there to what Pantheon 1.5 was. I don't see this project stopping anytime soon. My prediction, like I said, is around 2.5 million. I think there's going to be plenty of stretch goals. They're going to reveal more and more cool stuff as it goes on. You're going to be able to jump into Pantheon 1.5 if you want to grab that as well as other add-ons and expansions for Pantheon 1.5. And they might even reveal more for Ragnarok as time goes on. I don't know. That might only be stretch goals. But for the price and for what's included, it's along the same lines of Pantheon 1.5. The 120, that's kind of what I was expecting. I was expecting just over 100 for just the core box, what I saw from King of Average. That's kind of what I was planning. And I was kind of planning for a 300-400 all in I thought they were going to have a little bit more for Ragnarok, to be honest, as far as, it's not a complaint. I just thought they were going to have, I was expecting that much, like a Pantheon 1.5 level of stuff. But it doesn't seem like it's there. It might get there. So the price is what I was kind of expecting. Like I said, I've never played Pantheon before, but I like skirmish games. I love Viking stuff. So this kind of seems like, and it's got a good rating on BGG, Pantheon 1.5. And so if they're taking that system and kind of tweaking it, changing around a little bit, but keeping that same formula, I think I'm going to like it. I love the double-sided boards. The minis look fantastic. So as of right now, I'm probably going to go in on this. I don't know what level. I might just pledge $1 now and just kind of see as the pledge manager opens up. I don't know. I'm going to keep, checking this out just to see what they add as far as, stretch goals and stuff like that. If they add anything else as far as expansions for Ragnarok, I'm going to be, keeping a close eye on that. But so far, this all looks good. So if this at all interests you, I mean, if you're into skirmish games or you've never played a skirmish game, maybe you just want to get the base game of this with a ton of stretch goals, this might be a perfect opportunity. It looks like a kind of far along the prototype did that King of Average said. So it's not like they're coming from scratch. They're basing it on an already successful, game. And as well as Pantheon 1.5 was not in stores, right? You can't just pick that up. So if this at all interests you, now the pledge manager is probably going to go on for some time. If you don't go in now, you're probably going to be able to do a late pledge, and it's probably going to be open for a while. So you don't have to make a decision now, or you could just pledge $1. But if this at all interests you, you might want to think about hopping in at some point. At least with the core, you're going to get a ton of stretch goals, a ton of value. If you don't like it, you're going to be able to sell it later for no problems at all. This is probably going to be a hot commodity like 1.5 was. People are still looking for all that stuff today. That was on high demand for them to do a reprint for this campaign. So I highly suggest you guys think about it. Look over the stuff. I'm going to be going over the rule book, reading that, seeing what all that's about. But so far, this looks really interesting, and yeah, so I like it. I think the value's there. I think the prices are good, and it all looks good. The artwork looks fantastic. So I'm pretty excited. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This was like I said, my first Kickstarter coverage. I might try to do a few more of these depending on the how it goes with you guys. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, please give it a like. Think about subscribing if you like this video or other videos and you want to see more content from me. It would really help out. And until then, just grab some brews, play some games, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, take care.